Since I've been asked about this matter, I guess now is the time to give my thoughts on the very fact that when the Capitol coup happened, Jon Schaffer, who's the leader of Iced Earth, one of my favorite bands, was identified as among those who stormed the Capitol, with this very picture being a featured image on numerous headlines, often saying, "The FBI and Department of Justice are looking for these people. Do you know who they are?" Besides being a history buff and having written many pieces of music inspired by US and world history, anyone who's looked up Jon Schaffer knows he leans pretty far right, and is even quoted on his bio page on Iced Earth's official website as saying he's very much about, quote, standing against and exposing tyranny, which is what a lot of these people legitimately thought they were doing when they stormed the US Capitol building. Well, when you happen to be the leader of a respected band in the heavy metal community, people are gonna fucking recognize you if your face pops up on the FBI Twitter feed. So yeah, whether you were outraged by the storming of the Capitol building and have another reason to hate Trump and Trump supporters, or you thought it was a justified attempt at giving the Democrats a taste of their own medicine, the fact remains this. Even if you manage to get inside the building, the U.S. Capitol building has security cameras all over the place, as does pretty much every federal building all over D.C. And even if you manage to evade the security cameras, how in the world would anyone think, "Oh yes, I've stormed the Capitol building, but first let me get a selfie"? And if you're going to do something as bold as storming the Capitol building, eventually you're going to get recognized. What makes this even more boneheaded is that we're actually at a weird period when it's not only acceptable to wear those goddamn pieces of bacteria accumulated cloth to cover your face because pandemic, but you're practically crucified if you don't wear a mask. And since you risk being recognized if you storm a federal building, the one time you should have worn a mask and you didn't is just asking you to be found and arrested. What the hell were you people thinking? As of this recording, Schaffer has turned himself in and is reportedly in U.S. Marshal custody, being held on 6 felony charges. I guess we'll just have to wait to see what happens next. Now look, my thoughts on the events that took place on January 6th are all over the place, especially because of the double standard hypocrisy of it from both sides. But I'm sure we can all agree with the saying, if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You storm a federal facility, you don't do anything to protect your identity just in case your poorly planned coup didn't go as you planned, and you expect to walk away without any consequences? People crying over being put on the no-fly list when they try to fly home after being caught? People crying over losing their jobs when their employer found out what they did? We're in an age where if you're not careful enough on social media, people can dig dirt on you from something you said or did years ago. And if you're caught red-handed committing a criminal offense, it won't be long until everyone you know is aware that you've been exposed as a petty criminal or possibly worse. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Even though I understand to an extent why those who sieged the Capitol building did what they did, I am always about people being held accountable for the bad and stupid shit they do. Even I held Trump accountable as he should have encouraged a peaceful transition rather than push voter fraud even after the court dismissed it. I get it. We've been dealing with countless protests turned into riots at the hands of the radical left. We've had cities practically burned to the ground in the name of activism for police reform. At the same time they're expecting police to enforce laws, they're also being told that their budget is being cut. Remember when we've had people merely claim sections of Seattle and say it's their own autonomous zone for about a month? There are tons of examples that can be dug up. So even though I was not a fan of the Capitol siege, I get why they did it and felt like they had no other choice. One can argue, yeah, they didn't find any evidence of fraud, that's why they kept dropping the cases in court, but that still won't stop millions of people from thinking something suspicious was at play when going over the stats. Just because the courts rule in favor of a position doesn't always mean it's right. OJ's murder trial, anyone? 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 You think the same system that hated Donald Trump and wanted his head since the day he got elected is going to side with him when they have a chance to get rid of him? You know they still wanted blood when they try to impeach him again after he left office. So remember what I said in my 2020 Super Rant. It wasn't going to matter which side the courts were going to side with. Half of the country would remain pissed and bad shit would keep happening. So we'll just have to wait and see how much worse things will get, or if people will finally stop treating the other side as the enemy and work toward a common goal. But with Biden and Harris, I find that unlikely. Too many people on the right refuse to forgive the left for the 4 years of throwing hissy fits and refusing to accept Trump's time in office. Too many double standards of, well, it's okay when we do it, but no, they're not allowed to do it. We truthfully need to stop seeing someone with another opinion or belief as the enemy. But unfortunately, as it is with American politics and millions of supporters, the left and the right are like a divorced couple who continuously blame the other side for their failed relationship, while the children who just want everyone to find ways to get along are the ones getting screwed over. It's exhausting, it's unproductive, and just keeps everyone resentful. And you know what? Life's too short to keep losing our minds over it. And since we only get a few decades on this planet at the most, I'd rather not waste my time too much on it. But that's enough politics for me right now. Back to Jon Schaffer and Iced Earth. What does this mean for the band? Well, for starts, Century Media has dropped the band from their label, as well as his collaboration project, Demons and Wizards. The rest of the band themselves have largely remained silent, and probably so because they don't want to speak out and lose their job. Iced Earth is pretty much Jon Schaffer's band. He's the main composer and the one behind the direction the band goes with each release. If he's gone, Iced Earth is gone. I'm sure there's a lot of uncertainty for the rest of the lineup at this point, so we owe it to them to respect their privacy. I'm sure if Iced Earth ceases, the rest of the band will be able to find other projects that'll take them, because that's what musicians do. This is one of those things where you have to decide whether to separate the art from the artist. Plenty of examples of artists that have done stupid shit. We either choose to let it slide because we still enjoy the art, or we decide, no, not giving that person another dime. Just depends on where you draw the line. We're all flawed humans, we all make mistakes, and we don't agree on most things. In the case of heavy metal, it has always been one of the most long-lasting tools of nonconformity, and it has always been about raising your voice and being true to yourself, even if others don't agree with you. What's the point of playing heavy metal if you're going to be polite and agreeable to mainstream norms? If you want music that's about everybody being happy and surrounded by puppies and rainbows, I'm afraid heavy metal is the wrong music for you. While Iced Earth does have its legion of loyal fans, are there people that are now no longer going to support Jon or Iced Earth? Absolutely. If you're listening to me and you choose to follow suit, I get it. But all the people acting surprised and outraged that Jon Schaffer would even think, let alone actually take part in what happened on January 6th, clearly didn't know enough about him to begin with, or weren't paying attention, considering he's been very open on his political views for a really long time. Besides 2001's Horror Show having a song paying tribute to the troops, we've had 2004's Glorious Burden, which pays tribute to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the American Revolutionary War, and it closes with a 30-minute 3-song epic suite about the Battle of Gettysburg. Since 2009, he's had a side project called Sons of Liberty, and the album, Brushfires of the Mind, is a concept album about corrupt leaders holding the rest of the world in slavery, which stems from his own personal beliefs against big government pushing people to the brink where they feel like they must fire back. But those who claim, oh no, he's racist, because they're convinced all Trump supporters are racist, really need to get out of that mindset. Jon's not a racist. He just hates big government. So no, I don't necessarily believe in ceasing support of a band or musician I like because of their political views. Lord knows, if I only supported bands and members with the exact same political views and spiritual beliefs I have, then I would have a very, very small number of songs on my phone. So unless Schaffer gets convicted of something so severe it's unforgivable, there will also be plenty of people who still respect and enjoy his music. Maybe this is a bad example of a famous person with a criminal record still having a career, but Mike Tyson is a convicted rapist, and that bullshit exhibition fight with Roy Jones Jr. still earned $10 million guaranteed for Tyson alone and generated $80 million in pay-per-view revenue. Clearly he still has supporters. And when it comes to what constitutes a felony, we definitely see some acts as worse than others. So if he gets charged and convicted with merely vandalizing federal property or threatening an official, then I know there's going to be those who think, oh, that's it? Does his time? Goes back to what he did before? Maybe, maybe not. But if it comes out he's directly responsible for some of the violence and deaths during these events, like let's say it comes out that he killed the police officer, then Iced Earth will definitely go the way of lost profits and remaining members will have to find something else to do. But at the moment, I still like and respect Jon Schaffer as a hell of a guitarist. I don't think he should have been part of the Capitol storming, as it achieves nothing but hurting his career. And that's all I can really say on this matter. Thank you, Savion Burnett, for asking me that question, even if it was off topic, but I appreciate you still asking me anyway. I'm Desert Coyote 22. Thanks for listening.